we really need to get our numbers out there because Haulover brings in about 1.4 to $5 billion a year from the tourists that come to that beach.
Billion?
Billion.
Billion with a B.
With
Yeah.
the beach.
1.5, you said?
A 1.4 to 1.5 billion dollars a year.
Wow.
Total annual Haulover Beach Park visitors for the whole beach park was 1.5 million people. The annual Naturist Beach visitors, the clothing optional section, was 1.4 million. And that came from the lifeguards, which is called the Ocean Rescue Service. And they're the ones that count the butts on the beach. They do this on a daily basis. So when I ask for the report, I get it basically month by month. So it's very important to know for the lifeguards how to keep up with how many people, and what they do is they count people between the lifeguard stations. And so they're the ones that have the accurate numbers. It is not the park department that counts the cars that park in the lot, because people get to that beach 4 or 5 different ways. And since Haulover, we have so many people that have moved down here that live in Sunny Isles or Val Harbor, Aventura, North Miami Beach, and bought homes and really expensive condos, obscenely expensive. They get to the beach, a lot of them just walk there, like the place across the street or just at the north part of the beach. They also come by bike. They come by taxi or Uber or bus. So you can't rely on the parking revenues. All right, so the tourists to the Naturist Beach is between 65 and 70% of, and this was back in 2012, remember, approximately 925,000. Average overnight visitor spending, an average stay, and this we got from the Miami-Dade Convention and Visitors Bureau. At the time, it was $264.58 per day, and the average stay was 5.82 nights. Tourist economic impact annually was over $1 billion. Jobs created from the Naturist Beach, which is also very important, is all that revenue, that triggers jobs. And for every 80 visitors that come to Florida, spend money, or within Florida, it creates 1 job. So the average annual parking revenue since 2000 was $1.4 million a year, approximately 24 million since 1992, which was the year after we started the beach, because we started it in July 1991. The annual Haulover volunteer hours, so hourly rate. Our volunteers put in 30,000 hours, and the U.S. Department of Labor statistics say that a volunteer is worth $22.14 an hour. Yeah. So the annual Haulover Beach value of volunteers at that time was $653,700 a year. So you have value. And you need to tout your horn, blow it, say, we're good for this community. And we've got the numbers that we didn't make up. We got the numbers from the officials that are involved with the beach and tourism as their industry business. So, the other thing, I think most of you know that Haulover has been talked about in all kinds of publications. I'm just going to give you a few of the better ones that we know. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, The New Yorker, Stern Magazine, which is a German, publication, The Economist, Business Week, Condé Nast. That's just a few of the many publications that have run stories about Haulover. And before that, Black's Beach got a lot of attention, but then Haulover kind of surpassed them, but that's all right. They're all part of the family. Haulover is a third of a mile of clothing optional designated area, and it's the largest singular tourist destination facility in all of South Florida. It also ranks in the top 10 things to do for tourists who visit Miami. Naturists want to know why the incredible numbers of users to Haulover Beach and corresponding financial impact. Why is there no nudist resort hotel facility on or near Haulover Beach or in Miami Beach? It also seems that the years of established historic traditional clothing optional beaches in North America, why entrepreneurs in the nude recreation industry continue to ignore this natural market for their own business growth and invest some of their marketing dollars to mentor the volunteer naturists, friends of, or mentoring groups to these awesome sites. That needs to be the question that is posed to the national organizations, boards of directors, and in Anna's case, you have trustees. There's been people that own resorts that feel that the beach's population takes away revenue from their resorts. Well, we know it's just the opposite, and we've got other nudist businesses, resorts, travel industry people that experience working with us and see their numbers grow. So we've got to dispel these old myths that people have and make sure that they understand what this team, this pool of virgin nudists is there for. I mean, there used to be a trade association called Trade Association for Nude Recreation or Canada, and periodically our organization was a member on and off, and we went to a few of their meetings. Actually, I started back in the early 90s going to them. They are no longer in existence. But they had a Stanford graduate as part of their, in marketing, as part of their team. And he owned a resort out in California. Unfortunately, he passed away. Excellent, excellent person. But I would watch and look how they spent their money on advertising in these travel magazines and what they spent for these teeny tiny ads. They could have taken half that amount and invested it with us and other nude beach groups that mentor clothing optional beaches and had all the business they wanted. But because of myopic thinking and views, they look upon the beach people as something that takes away from their personal little for-profit businesses, and not that this is adding to the betterment of nude recreation. I can understand their vision, their thought process at first, but they wouldn't go to the next level. Instead of just thinking about my little piece of turf, they needed to think more broadly. Like I was saying last night, we need to support our national organizations. Be they imperfect, but just like in politics, if you run for an office and get elected, you have a chance of making changes and making a difference. So I would employ everyone to really start looking at our national organizations and participating and becoming members. It's not that expensive. It really isn't. And start educating them as to how working with designated clothing optional beach groups and helping them to develop these beaches will only be good for everybody. It lifts all ships.
The same discussion that Shirley was describing, the research and presentation of the true economic impact, and why certainly local businesses who can be your best friends, should be your best friends, but only if they know what benefits you bring. So the point of this discussion, or the one that will follow in more detail after lunch, is to persuade some of the new groups up and coming, like Palm Beach Naturists, like Treasure Coast Naturists, and so forth, to have an approach in mind to local businesses, particularly the ones that most obviously benefit, like restaurants and hotels and tourist-oriented shops. You want them on your side, and part of your plan in building your program, of which Beach Ambassador is a part, is to have your local businesses recognize your value and be your friend. So if you do have to go up against public entities, you've got not just the beach goers and the beach users, but also the businesses that truly understand how this benefits them and their interest behind you. So the afternoon discussion will be talking about making these partnerships with local businesses and with organizations, and we actually have an elected leader coming who might be able to cast insight on how to cast an insight on how to develop partnerships with political leaders as well, to build the awareness that there is an economic impact, a positive one.